Hello and welcome to the second round of the MX5 Cup Championship. Last week saw an exhilarating battle that ended up with Geoffrey Tassenoy beating out his teammate Tobias Röhner to win an exhilarating first race of this Cup Championship. Now we move southeast to the Brands Hatch Indy circuit, one that will absolutely, in my opinion, be more exciting than Silverstone with the tight battles that will happen at this track. My name is Dylan Coyle. Alongside me is Sam Carmichael. Sam, how you doing today?
I'm doing great today. I think this race is going to be an exciting race. It's definitely a long race, 45 laps, and we should definitely see some action across the entire field.
I definitely think this is going to be a more exciting race, as I said in the opening, than the Silverstone one, partly because there are so many different lines you can choose. There's just so much momentum, and we talked about momentum big time in the broadcast last week, but this track, the momentum is insane when you're going up the hills. You need to be able to get some speed, and that's hard to do.
Definitely, if you don't get your line right through the first corner, you're on the way up to Druids and you're losing speed rapidly, whereas the person behind you could have got a much better line through the first corner and they could just simply put a pass on you through that corner and you're down a position.
Definitely, as we see the first few cars coming out in this qualifying. Remember, it's a 15-minute session, and following the qualifying will be the 45-lap race. For a quick reminder for everybody, it's only the top 15 cars that do get points. 25 points for the win. You know, mostly your general FIA scoring. You get an extra point, however, for that pole position. And last week it was Tobias Röhner who got it, and eventually got beat out by his teammate Geoffrey Tassenoy. Now, I'm not sure, did you watch any of that race, Sam?
No, I didn't catch the race actually. I was busy that day, however.
It was a fantastic race, and for everyone who is watching this who did not see that, on the last lap in the club straight with less than half a lap to go at the Silverstone National Circuit, both Tassenoy and Röhner were side by side, and going out of Brooklands, Röhner just got loose and lost it, basically gifted it to Tassenoy right there. So he definitely probably wants to get revenge for that, and already we're seeing some fast times. We saw times almost going down to 52 seconds. Fast laps are absolutely going to be coming later in this session, but is there anybody you think to look out for, Sam?
Well, just as you touched upon then in round one with Tassenoy beating Röhner, the practice session previously, the fastest two people were.
Absolutely.
We could be for a bit of a rematch.
We absolutely could, and looking at the practice session there, it seemed to be, and this is true with Brands Hatch, with the varying degrees of how much elevation change there is. There were a lot of cars that were going off into the grass areas, and the one part I want to talk about especially is the last section of the track. Surtees, McLaren, Clearways, and then going into the Clark Curve. This is going to be a crucial test of power and control of the car, because there are a lot of lines you can take, and with the momentum going up the Brabham Straight, you need that momentum, because going up the hill, you're not going to be able to go past the speed you went at going out of that turn.
Definitely, Surtees and McLaren are the corners you're going to have to get right before you go into
definitely, and there
the first corner, even before the last corner.
There's a lot of grass runoff area right there, so we've seen this from the Silverstone race. The cars that have hit the walls, they don't have much damage. The damage multiplier, I believe, is only at 10%. However, there is a lot of grass area to go off there, and you're going to be sliding for a while. You will lose a lot of time. It's very easy to get off track right there. So as we see the fast times already starting to come up, Pierre Cavillon right now is sitting at the top of the leaderboard. Sake Leponimi is right behind him, the Finishman driver. Craig Patterson right now in the pits, he's third. Tassenoy fourth, and rounding up your top five is Tyler Brilland, who had a very, very surprising race last week. he didn't race really with any of these cars, any of these drivers beforehand, and just turned out to be such an unbelievable race from him, getting third.
Now, as you mentioned, this track is quite small. Qualifying in clean air especially is going to be quite difficult because of the amount of cars on track and the little space available. We just seen Cavion coming up behind 2 cars side by side, and one of them spun out while he's on his qualifying lap. So I think it's definitely the other cars out there could prove, especially the slower ones down the field, could prove quite influential due to their in the pole position battle.
Absolutely, and the one thing about this track, as I'm riding on with Tyler Breland, let's just take a tour of the Brands Hatch circuit, because this is a very interesting racetrack, one where it can definitely make or break in a lot of ways, because there are a lot of turns that are tough. So following along with Tyler Breland, we go down the Brabham Straight, and then go into one of the most important corners, the Paddock Hill corner. There's a lot of ways you can mess that up, as he just touches the curbs a little bit. Now, it's going to be a legal cut if you go out of the white line there. Going up Halewood Hill into Druids. Druids is a very tough corner. Some drivers do like to go from second gear into third, or just stay at third gear. Going down the Graham Hill into that curve is another tough one. This is an illegal cut if you go off that white line. Going down the Cooper Straight into Surtees is the next one, and you can mess this up big time. Surtees, then McLaren, then Clearways. If you hit the curb, if you don't brake hard enough, or soft enough, excuse me, like Breland just had a little bit of a slide right there, there's a big chance that you will mess up your lap. Going out of the Clark curve, as Breland does seem to be slowing down just a little bit, if he continued that lap, you just go right again. It's a quick lap here, and it's in a very exciting one as well.
And we also have the first driver of the day in the 52s.
That is correct, actually, just 52.999. Just barely got into that mark. Sake Lepondemi with that one coming out of the pits once again. Tassenoy is very close, though, only 33 thousandths of a second behind him. Now, Lepondemi wasn't one of the big factors in the race last weekend. However, it does appear, actually, he finished 21st. He did not start the race. There were some technical difficulties. I'm not quite sure what happened on his end, but Lepondemi could show up and be a big factor here, as you see him just warming up his tires.
And it looks like we've got a spin at Druids, Jürgen van der Northgate. He's back on the track now, and he stayed out of the way, so everyone should have been okay on their fast laps, but he definitely seems to be struggling at the moment.
Yeah, he's almost a full second behind Norman Bruce for that 18th spot, and I think for him it's just a matter of how much practice he got in. He was saying he did not get too much practice on this track, so that is not a great thing coming into the Brands Hatch Indy circuit if you're going to try and race in a league. Under 5 minutes left to go in this session, and it still looks like it's going to be someone around the Röhner, Breland, Tassenoy that can get pole, but the big surprise that we didn't know about coming in is Lepondemi. And Sam, I know you know a few drivers from the R Factor 2 series. Care to chime in on how any of these drivers perform over there?
Well, yeah, definitely. There is a few drivers that obviously switch between games and series. Tobias Röhner springs to mind, Andrew Harper, and also Di Domenico Antonio. However, of course, the Indy 500 race was cut short due to server technical issues last time, but it was also causing freezing for the drivers, so they'll be coming into a corner and the game would actually freeze and make them go straight into the wall, which is a shame because they were all running so well during the first 30 laps. We thought it was going to be a great race. However, after that, the server really started to deteriorate. But the next round of the IndyCar series should be fine, and if you're a fan of R Factor 2 or IndyCar series in general, tune in whenever it's on, and you can also give Racedepartment a follow on Twitch.
Absolutely, and it is an exciting series. It's a shame the Indy 500 race could not be completed all the way. However, server difficulties along with a 200-lap race, so many crashes it appeared, but a lot of them were caused by lag, were they not?
Yeah, it was something. It was a glitch in the server or something that was causing player freezes. I think it was due to this. I mean, I haven't got the technical details, but it was something to do with that.
All right, definitely. There is a spin off right before Paddock Hill. Henrik Heide, who just went back into the pits, was the one who did that. And we're under 3 minutes to go in this session. Tassenoy just came out of the pits, only 33 thousandths of a second behind Lepponimi for first. Could Lepponimi be the spoiler in this race? What do you think?
I definitely think he's definitely the most surprised. I didn't think I'd see him up here because we didn't really see him at the front during practice, but all of a sudden he's jumped to the top of the timesheet with a 52.9, which is the fastest all day. I wonder if anyone can catch him in this qualifying session, or maybe that's the best lap that will be set, but definitely watch out for Tassenoy, Breland and Röhner. They'll be the three fighting it out for the rest of the positions if they can't catch Lepponimi.
Absolutely, and it does seem like lap times here compared to Silverstone National Circuit a lot closer, a lot quicker, of course, because of the shorter circuit, excuse me, but it does seem that a lot of the drivers, in terms of how quick their lap is, it's just they're much closer together. Going along now on Tassenoy, and Tassenoy right now is running a pretty decent lap. Coming in the 30s, full speed ahead, goes 90 miles per hour and just brakes right as he's going in the clearways. Could this be a very interesting lap for Tassenoy? Let's see. Coming out of the Clark curve, what can he do here? A minute 22 remaining in the session. Lepponimi, remember, is at first. Tassenoy, can he go in the first? He does! Geoffrey Tassenoy beats Lepponimi by almost 8 thousandths of a second, or 800ths of a second, excuse me. My word. Can somebody respond?
All the cars will be running on quite low fuel loads at the moment, so you can expect rather fast time during the end of the session. And it looks like Cavillon just leapfrogged Lepponimi as well.
So all the fast times are starting to come right now, and Lepponimi just decided, let me come right back, and hits a 52.8. Oh man, this is an exciting end to the final few seconds of this qualifying session. Breland is back in fourth right now, and Röhner is right now in fifth. Not a likely position for him going into there. Let's see Tassenoy. It's a slower lap this time, maybe for one more opportunity to try and get first. Let's see if he can do anything here. Oh man, this is an exciting finish. Lepponimi, 31 seconds as he's going in the 30s. Doesn't touch the curbing, goes right around 90, brakes late. Let's see if he has a different way around here. This is going to be his last one. He's not going to be able to get to the line quick enough to get another session. Blythe is in front of him, but let's see if Lepponimi can improve on his time as he's coming to the line. And he does not. Lepponimi obviously slowed down a little bit. Can Tassenoy come back? Tassenoy going around the McLaren curve. Can he come back and decide to take first away from Lepponimi? Cavillon is in the pits, so he's not going to be a challenger. Tassenoy just aborted the lap. So right now, Lepponimi is standing at the top. Breland, I believe, still is on a flying note. That is it. And Lepponimi, Sake Lepponimi, is going to start first, get an extra bonus point. And what a surprise. We didn't see anything from him in the Silverstone National Circuit. My word, what an exciting finish.
Yeah, definitely. As we mentioned before, it's although these tracks are based in Britain and they're also very short, it's completely different. Brands Hatch is more of it's basically like a roller coaster of flowing turns. With extreme undulations, especially through turn 1 and turn 2. Whereas Silverstone's quite flat and there's quite a lot of runoff area, and it's quite a wide track as well, so definitely some circuits suit and drivers better.
Absolutely, and just Liponimi, I would not be surprised after that qualifying session if he would come back and just snatch away a win. And when we all think it's going to be either Brelin, Röhner, or Tassenoy, could he be the spoiler? We were talking about that a lot in the qualifying session. I didn't think he would be able to hand it up top and keep it there. And after he was passed, he decided to go with a 52.8, surprising everybody, except probably himself. So, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think this race is going to have in store for us, Sam?
If Leponini has got great race pace, because we haven't really seen any long runs from these guys in practice, so it's mostly just been qualifying prep. But if Leponini has bad race pace, or if he gets off to a bad start, you never know. Tassenoy, Cavillon, Brelin, or Röhner could jump him at the start through the first corner. We definitely could be in for an exciting first couple of laps here.
Definitely. It's going to be exhilarating. Right now, remember, we'll just go over the grid real quick. Of course, Tassenoy will be starting second, and Leponini will be in first. Right now, it doesn't look like everyone's on the grid yet, so once everyone's starting to get on the grid, we'll talk more about who is starting up top. Absolutely, this is going to be quite an exciting race. Sam, do you have any interest in anyone you want to win more specifically? I know Lorenzo last week definitely was pulling for the Talking Door teammates of Tassenoy and Röhner.
I'm definitely more in a neutral environment at the moment, but I don't really have a favourite at the moment. Maybe throughout the next couple of races I might tend to favour someone. However, at the moment I'm purely neutral.
Yeah, I'm always neutral, but I am in for a great race. That's what I'm biased for. That's exactly what anyone should be biased for. All right, so let's just go over the standings real quick. It's been up. So at the end of last week, what an exciting race, as we've said. In first place, Geoffrey, Tassenoy, and second, Tobias, Röhner. Both drivers, a very, very interesting race they had. Röhner started on the pole, got that bonus point, which obviously Leponini got in this one. And Tassenoy, 25 points for the win. In third, Tyler Brelin, who is an independent driver right now from the USA. Well, okay, I guess if I have a bias, it's for Brelin because, you know, the American thing that's going on. You know what I'm saying, guys. And in fourth, it's Pierre Cavillon. Craig Patterson is in fifth. And then Frank Van Uveren, Gabriel Sturr, Geoffrey, Sauce, Marion, Markroft, Heide, Schumann, Leith, and Eichler finish out this point-scoring driver. So it was quite the exciting race last time.
And also, with 15 places being awarded points and only 18 or 19 drivers today, it could prove that some cars may pick up more points than they expected and gain places in the championship.
Absolutely. It's going to be quite the exciting race. Not too much time to go until the lights go out. Here are the lights. What will happen here? Round 2 of the MX5 Cup Championship. The lights have started to go on. What will we see? The lights are out, and we are racing here. Who will lead coming off the line? Sake Leponimi going on the inside at the hill. What could happen? He's got the lead, but here comes Tassenoy on the other side. He's side by side. He's got the inside line. Tassenoy leads after Druids. Cavillon on the inside of Leponimi. A little bit of a slide. Leponimi getting absolutely mauled in the back. But what can happen here? He keeps that position. Tassenoy, after the first little bit, has the lead. But Leponimi's going to try and come back on Surtees. Oh, this is going to be exciting. Who is going to lead in this very interesting corner? And in the Surtees, Leponimi grabs the lead away. Tassenoy does not get it. Tassenoy a little bit in the grass. Pierre Cavillon's absolutely asking for that mistake, and Cavillon gets into the back of him. Oh, Leponiemi has the lead at the end of the first lap. What an insane first lap that was. Tassenoy, Cavillon side by side, going into the paddock hill. Smart move by Cavillon to just relent there, but he comes right back and gets right to the bumper of Tassenoy. What an interesting start. Cavillon on the outside trying to get around him. Won't work, but Tassenoy spins. Tassenoy is off the track. He lost control of the car. And Geoffrey Tassenoy is falling back even more. He's in the 8th place now. 9th place. He keeps just falling back. And Tyler Brelin also went into the grass area. What is happening to the leaders in this championship? Sam, help me here.
It really looks like Leponiemi's been the spanner in the works here, because he's just came up, started on pole, and now everyone around him seems to be crumbling. Going back to that first lap, however, there was quite a lot of carnage near the back of the pack. About 4 or 5 cars were left facing the wrong direction up at Druids.
It's been insane. Leponiemi on the 3rd lap already has a 2.5-second lead over Tobias Röhner, who right now, Röhner would sit comfortably in the championship lead. But he is getting an attempt on him by Pattison. Sauce and Pattison also are fighting with each other, but it looks like Röhner just cleared them by a few car lengths. Cavillon is in 2nd. So, I mean, I keep saying it, but that just shows how insane the start was. What happened to Tyler Brelin? Because I saw him out on the grass. Do you have anything on that? Because right now, he is in the last point-paying position in 15th.
It looks like he just may have been forced wide, or possibly made a mistake coming through Graham Hill Bend. We've seen him on the grass and spinning around, but it looks like he's... Oh, and he's made contact
and
with...
he's off and hits the wall. Jürgen van den Nordgate got into the side of him. Not a good start for Tyler Brelin. Brelin is falling all the way back. He's in 18th now. The only driver behind him is Paul Blythe. Brelin, oh, what could happen worse for him?
Paul Blythe was one of the drivers involved in the first lap incident at Druid, so that explains why he's so far back.
Definitely, and it is not going well for Tyler Brelin at all so far in this race. But for Sake Leponiemi, everything is going just his way. Going back to the start of the race, he had the advantage going out of the paddock hill, but it did have Geoffrey Tassenoy on the inside and took the lead away until Surtees. And Leponiemi just drove away. Fastest lap there, but what happened to Tassenoy? The back of his car just slid out from under him in an insane way for him to start this race and the battle for the championship. He has made work of a few drivers, though, and is in 6th place. Paul Geoffrey is the next one. Your podium right now, Sake Leponiemi, Pierre Cavillon, and Tobias Röhner.
Yeah, it looked like Tassenoy came into the corner maybe a bit too fast, under pressure from drivers behind him, and he's just spun it round on the exit. But I think he will be disappointed in himself, considering he's lost all that time and he's got to overtake these people to get back up to the 3rd and 2nd positions.
Absolutely, and it looks like with Leponiemi's incredible lead, it's almost at 3 seconds now. I don't think anyone, bearing a huge mistake by Leponiemi, would be able to catch up to him.
And Dinka Andre has just spun off on the final corner. He's rejoining the track now.
Andre was in the points-paying position, but now is falling all the way to the back. Tyler Brelin goes by him, and Brelin is making up ground already in the 16th. If we look back at that battle for the last point-paying position, Schumann and Andrew Harper, 14th and 15th. Brelin is right behind Harper, though. Will Brelin be able to get right back into the point? Because remember, he is in the championship race and is falling back further and further. Brelin trying to go on the inside, tries to force it on Harper. Harper goes wide, Brelin makes easy work of him. So Brelin just keeps moving up.
Brelin definitely the man on the move, and it looks like there's a fight between Norman Bruce and Marco
Victor. And Norman Bruce. It looked like Victor just passed him, but he just had a little bit of a touch on the grass, I wanted to say, on the gravel, and it's going to be Bruce coming off the Clark curve. So Victor had the lead for a second, but then had a little dip in the gravel and wasn't able to hold on to it. Back at the front, there's no battle going on right now. Cavallon is 3.1 seconds back of the lead. Röhner is 1.4 seconds back of Cavallon, and right now, Patterson is 2 seconds off that final podium spot. Intense action here early on, 7th lap of the race. What more can you ask for?
Looks like Geoffrey Tassenoy is about to make a move on Paul Geoffrey coming down the Brabham Straight.
He is. He's going to try and go. I don't think he's going to try and go on Paddock Hill. Will Geoffrey just go out of it? Geoffrey goes wide. Good, smart driving by both drivers there. Tassenoy definitely had the advantage, but Geoffrey's going to try and find him right back on the outside. Druids is not a place to do that, however. And there's another person for Tassenoy to chase after. It's Craig Patterson right in front of him. And Tassenoy, you have to think early in the race, it's got to be in his mind, because I didn't think anyone touched him there. And he did go a little wide, however. It looked like he did relent, and Geoffrey's going to try and go on the inside at Surtees. Geoffrey has the excuse me, I can't even talk right now. It's so exciting. Geoffrey gets in front of him clearly, and now Tassenoy is going to have a little dip in the grass and going to try and make another run on the Brabham Straight. Exciting times here in this race.
And as all this is happening, Leponini has just set the fastest lap of the race so far with a 53 dead, so already approaching qualifying times here, 9 laps into the 45 lap race.
Yeah, that's an incredible feat, especially Leponini had a 52.8 for his qualifying time, which definitely was one that many people would not be able to beat. I was saying how my times were 2 seconds off all the drivers at the Silverstone National when I was just practicing, just to get a feel of the track. Well, I'm just telling you guys right now, my time is over 3 seconds off of what the leaders are going right here. So, yeah, not you know, I'm better up in the booth than it is driving this race, wouldn't you say?
And Marco Weigter overtaking Schumann here for 12th and 13th place as Breland makes a spot up on Andre, and now Breland is up into 15th, which gets him a point in the championship standings.
He's trying to go on Andrew Harper now, though, in the Surtees, and it looks like so far in Breland's trek back to the points, he is not afraid to take some chances. He's going to go on the inside of Andrew Harper, easily done, going off the McLaren curve in the clearways, and now going to go on to the Brabham Straight. So Breland is now in the 14th. He is around 5 seconds back of Christian Schumann, who's in his own battle right now with Marco Weigter. Schumann and Weigter, both of them go off a little bit on the Paddock Hill curve. Let's see what will happen here at Druids. Nothing.
Now it seems we may have missed this, but Paul Geoffrey has found himself in 8th place as opposed to Tassenoy, who was in 5th now, so maybe something happened while we weren't looking at them.
Possibly, and Geoffrey is right behind Cerise Sauce and Evan Marion. 2 Frenchmen, it appears, and he's going to have a little bit of ground to make up because he was in the front. He was in the challenging spot for a podium, and he did fall back. I'm not sure what happened to him right there, and you didn't catch it either, right?
No, I didn't catch it at all, but as we see Tassenoy making a move on Patterson, coming down to Graham Hill Bend, he's going to try the outside, but no, he thinks better of it and waits on the Cooper Straight.
On the Cooper Straight, it's Tassenoy on Patterson. Let's see if he's going to try and move here into Surtees. He was thinking about going inside. Patterson left a little bit of room, but it wasn't enough. He's going to try and go on the inside, though, in McLaren and in Clearway. It's a dangerous way to go around, but they're going to be side by side going onto the Brabham Straight in the Clark Curve, side by side. Let's see who's going to be the one. If they remain side by side at the end of the straight, it does look like Tassenoy will get the advantage unless Patterson tries to force it. Side by side, inside, Tassenoy. And Patterson's going to try and go on the outside here. That's a little dangerous. And because he did that, Tassenoy was forced to give off his throttle a bit. Smart play, though, or smart driving by Craig Patterson. Kept that lead. Tassenoy on him again. Tassenoy trying to go a little wide, right on his bumper on the inside at Graham Hill. What will happen? Patterson closes the door again. Cooper Straight, this is a lap-long battle that just keeps on raging. And the 2 drivers, or the 3 drivers in front of them, absolutely love it because it takes attention off of them for a podium bid. Patterson still holding that line. Tassenoy going in the clearway. who is going to be the one to come out on top after this straight. It does look like it's too far enough for Tassenoy to get in the slipstream and make a move at the end of this straight. He is gaining, though, and he's going to try and think about going on the inside. He decides against it. Raging battle right here. A little touch into the grass. Patterson right in front of him. Takes an easy line in the Druids. Tassenoy goes a little bit late on the braking and decides against trying to make an overtake right there. So Patterson does go a little wide, though. Did he decide to give up a bit? I'm not sure. But Patterson still going in. They're very close here in the Cooper Straight. Tassenoy thinking about a move. Will he make it? He's going on the inside at Surtees. Tassenoy inside Surtees. What will happen? Patterson holds it. Will he try to go on the inside here at Clearways? No, he will not. It was blocked by Patterson, but Patterson had a little bit of a slide. Tassenoy trying to go right behind him now. He's going to go again next to each other, and he does have a big boost of momentum going down this front stretch. Who will lead at the end of Paddock Hill? It looks like Tassenoy will have the advantage, and he does. So he finally gets the move done, but he has a little bit of a slide. He goes into the grass a bit. That opens the door again to Craig Patterson. So an intense battle raging here in the earlier stages of this race. It's the 14th lap out of 45. Tassenoy still holds it. Going down Graham Hill into the Cooper Straight, it's still the same length. And what will happen here in this straight? Because Patterson, remember, was on the opposite side. He was in the lead. Will he try to force anything? It doesn't look like it. My oh my, I need some water. This is big time talking. You know what I mean, Sam?
Definitely, this has been an absolutely exhilarating battle between Tassenoy and Patterson. While all that was happening, Paul Geoffrey and Sauce had half spins coming up through McLaren Clearways and Clark Curve, so they've lost a few positions. But the biggest mover of the race so far is definitely Tyler Breland. He's now up to 12th after his spin at Graham Hill Bend earlier on in the race.
Breland right behind Schumann right now, fighting for that 11th spot, and it does look like Henrik Heide will not finish the race. A server disconnect right now, so he won't get anything from this race. Breland on Schumann makes easy work out of it. And next is your favorite name to pronounce, isn't it, Sam?
Definitely, don't want to get this one wrong.
Schumann is going to try and make a challenge on the outside, though, and he's sticking right around with Breland. Breland does get the lead going off of it, but has a little tap from Schumann, and Breland does hold it. So that was a very dangerous turn of events. Next, Alessandro Di Domenicantonio. Love that name. It's fun to pronounce. Wouldn't you say? Anyway.
And it looks like Tassenoy and Patterson are going at it again into turn 1.
Absolutely. This is a battle that just keeps on raging. There is a car that's off. Andrew Harper quickly had to get right back off. Dika Andre, also one of the new drivers. That was what happened there. I didn't see anything happen, but right in front of the Tassenoy and the Patterson battle, there were just two cars right going slow in the grass, so good on them to avoid any action.
Of course, now it gets even more interesting as they are lapping traffic. I think Lepanini's already lapped a few cars, and if someone has an off, and actually I think that's Dinka Andre going slowly down the Cooper Straight. So I don't know what's wrong with him. Maybe he had enough on the first corner, because you've seen him stopped up at Druids, and it was very strange.
Not too sure what seems to be the issue with Dinka Andre. He is going slow. Maybe it's a problem with the steering in the physical world. I'm not too sure. He's going very slow, and maybe there he goes. He shifts down. Not too sure what the issue is, though. Andre is in 18th, so he's well out of a point-paying position. A lap down, there is some traffic coming up on him, and we talked about Tyler Breland. Well, that battle seems to be coming right around to him. Alessandro Di Domenicantonio, see, it is hard to pronounce, right next to Tyler Breland. He won't make it work. The two cars that are red because of livery issues coming into the race. Di Domenicantonio right next to Breland in the Surtees. Breland hitting the curb. That's a little dangerous, though, going into Surtees. And Di Domenicantonio will have the lead into Clearways. And Dika Andre did slide off into the gravel, so not sure what is wrong with his car. Christian Schumann is right behind. dangerous coming back on the track for Andre. But Di Domenicantonio and Brelin side by side. Brelin has the advantage, however. Can't clear him yet, but it does look like Di Domenicantonio falls in line. Tyler Brelin into the top 10.
And all this is happening, Tassenoy seems to have opened up quite a comfortable gap over Patterson at the moment, so that battle seems to have resided itself. Near the front, Leponini is still out in front with Cavillon and Tobias Röhner, possibly closing in on Cavillon as we get into almost halfway point in this race.
Right in front of Leponini is starting to be more lap traffic. Henrik Heide, right in front of him. It did appear that he disconnected, maybe it was someone else, but I don't quite remember.
I think it was possible desync issues with the server, because his car seemed to have disappeared for a couple of seconds and then reappeared, so maybe that was the issue.
Most likely, and Heide is making life hard for Leponini here. It's not an easy try to get around him. Heide does take an outside turn and lets Leponini just go away from him in clear ways. But Cavillon right behind Leponini. No, nothing's been able to come out of Cavillon catching up on Leponini. It does look like right now the podium is pretty set. But as we go back, there is a raging battle right now. 9th place, Paul Geoffrey. And then there is Gabriel Stur. We haven't talked about him that much. Evan Marion and Cerise Sauce all in a battle within around a second of each other. What is going to happen here? Geoffrey and Gabriel Stur side by side, and they're trying to slipstream on Evan Marion. What could happen going into the paddock hill? We'll just have to wait and find out. Geoffrey still on the inside. Gabriel Stur with a little bit of a slide and loses a lot of momentum. Geoffrey goes in front of him by a wide margin. Marion now. Will he make work of him? In the Druids. Marion blocks him off. Geoffrey can't get anything going there, though. It appears to be just a lot of battles in this series so far are in the mid-pack. What did you say?
Definitely. I think as traffic seems to have hit the drivers on the lead lap, they have definitely bunched up quite a lot. I do believe that Jürgen van der Norke had a spin up at Druid while Lee's 4 cars were going through, so that possibly bunched the pack up maybe.
And Marion and Paul Geoffrey. Marion was sliding. Gabriel Stur's going to try and take advantage of it. Marion and Geoffrey were touching each other for a very long time. That sounded really wrong, but they were hitting each other. Oh my, see, listen. Oh, and Geoffrey gets tapped by Stur, and he's going to slide off at Paddock Hill. Geoffrey is off the track. Stur and Marion side by side. See, this is why you have to have better choice of words. What the heck on my part? I'm just saying. Gabriel Stur on the outside. It won't work. Man. Geoffrey just got tapped on his left fender and just couldn't save the car. Still a battle raging on. Looks like there's not too many battles right now going on besides this. You see any?
No, really the only one I can spot is Gabriel Stur and Evan Marion, but as we look through the field, everyone seems to be pretty spread out now, so maybe during the latter part of the races people will come together, but at the moment it's looking pretty neutral.
Absolutely, and Paul Blythe in 14th just got lapped by Leponini. So absolutely, there is lap traffic coming up for Leponini. He's starting to lap a lot of drivers in this field. Andrew Harper right behind Tyler Brelin, but remember, Brelin did pass him a while ago. Harper off track, he was lapped, so remember, he is in the 16th spot. 15th is the last point paying position, and he's well off the mark of Norman Bruce.
And we just had Jürgen van der Nordgate go into the barrier at Graham Hill Bend on the inside of the turn. He's rejoining the track now. Sorry to interrupt there.
No, it's absolutely fine. And the thing that's very interesting, he's right next to Leponini, and he goes by very easily because right now it does appear that Jürgen Van... I can't even say his name right now. Oh, my bad. I'm having a rough broadcast at this moment. He's not having a great race at all, wouldn't you say?
No, I think definitely at the start after that first lap, I'm not sure if he was involved in that first lap collision, but he was definitely one of the drivers that were further down the field, so maybe he was involved. But We don't really know, as there's been no replay to be shown of that yet on our screens. But as we were just watching then, it appears that Dinka Andre has retired from the race.
So Andre, it does look like it is a connection issue. But as we go from Andre, there is a battle starting to form with the lap traffic between Pierre Cavillon and Tobias Röhner. Röhner is closing in within 1.5 seconds. Right now, on the Cooper Straight, Paul Blythe just got past. Good job by him by letting Cavillon go through. But it does look like the big pack of lap traffic is going to be a factor.
Now, I'm not sure if we mentioned this before, but the majority of drivers in this field are probably using wheels to race, whereas Jürgen van der Nokke is using a pad. So that could explain some difficulties he's having with the car, but he's doing a fine job of it, keeping on the road.
He is, and you saw him just sliding right there at Paddock Hill. It's obviously a very hard way to go about driving in a set of Corsa, but you can make do with it, and he's done a pretty good job compared to some of the other drivers who have wrecked and spun and gone out of this race with a wheel. As you see Blythe letting Röhner just go right by. And as we were talking about that, Tassenoy does appear like a bit ago, he is in the 4th. He is around 5 seconds behind his teammate Röhner. So after the Tassenoy spin in the early laps of this race, he has made good of coming back though. Him and Brelin is still in 10th. Right behind him, or right in front of him, is Paul Geoffrey. Around 3 seconds is that gap. Let's see if Brelin can get anything going here, because he was the quick mover of this race. Taking an inside line here on clearways. A lot of drivers. Now Cavillon with a little bit of a slide. Cavillon saves it. What a nice save. But that's going to open the door for Röhner to get some momentum going here on Cooper Straight. Oh, Pierre Cavillon slid big time. Röhner, a touch of the curves on 30s, going into clearways. Quick line for both drivers, but he slides a little bit and goes wide. Drivers are going wide a lot and sliding a lot in this race. Is there any reason as to why, Sam?
I think they could be running the tyres down, to be honest. Obviously 27 laps now into the race, they're using the hard compound, so I'm not sure what the deteriorate rate is on these tyres, however, but that could be an issue. And also, they could be getting onto some marbles at the side of the track.
Absolutely, and I just got confirmation that the Brelin and Cavillon incident was not too long ago in the race. Basically what happened is Brelin was almost forced off by, it looks like he was just basically forced off by Cavillon. So not too sure how that happened. Not too sure if there's going to be some after-race stewardship action taken there. But it's going to be an interesting turn of events to see what could come out of that.
And I think earlier in the race, probably about 10 laps ago, we reported that Hyde was out of the race. He's now rejoined back, and he is 3 laps down off the lead lap. So he is still in the race, as opposed to Dinka Andre, who is now obviously retired.
Definitely. And right now through the field, they've seemed to have spaced out a bit, but there is a bit of a spin. Norman Bruce spun. Brelin goes by him, but he does gain a bit on Paul Geoffrey. So right now, the closest drivers to having a battle is Tyler Brelin and Paul Geoffrey. There's also some battles within 2 seconds of each other, but I don't know if you would call that a battle or not. Röhner is under 2 seconds behind Pierre Cavillon at this moment. So right now, the standings in this race at the 28 lap point, Sake Leponimi, then Pierre Cavillon in second. Behind him is Tobias Röhner to round out your podium. Geoffrey Tassenoy, Craig Patterson, Cerise Sauce, Gabriel Stur, Evan Marion, Paul Geoffrey, and Tyler Brelin round out your top 10. In 11th, there's Christian Schumann. Alessandro Di Domenicantonio is in 12th. Marco Victor is in 13th. Paul Blythe 14th. And rounding out the point-paying positions is Norman Bruce. Andrew Harper is in 16th. Jürgen van den Noordgate is in 17th. And Henrik Heide 18th, and Dika Andre, as he did not finish, will be in 19th. So that is your leaderboard with 17 or 16 laps remaining.
looking at the gaps now, it definitely looks like Paul Geoffrey could be losing some time to Tyler Breland here, as Tyler Breland continues his charge from almost, was it 18th place that he ends up going back to after that spin?
He did end up going to 18th because not only did he have that spin and that, I guess you would say, interesting turn of events with Pierre Cavillon. Remember, he also spun out with one of the other back markers of this race.
And it's true, he made contact with, I can't remember what driver it was, but it was around clearways to Clark Curve where he had a bit of a half spin due to contact.
That is correct, and right now Cavillon still maintaining a 2-second lead. There's around a 4-second gap with the podium runners from Tobias Röhner to Geoffrey Tassenoy. Sauce and Gabriel Stur are around 2 seconds, 2+ seconds from each other. So not too many exciting, interesting moments happening in this race right now, except for the fact that Breland is still chasing down Paul Geoffrey, and that's under 2 seconds, is the difference. So this race so far, could you give me a quick rundown? What has happened in this race that made it so spaced out, but so exciting in the beginning?
Well, obviously at the start of the race, Leppanini got leapfrogged by, was it Tassenoy into the first turn?
Definitely.
Then there was a lap-long battle. Tassenoy spun out, but however, earlier on that lap, there was some carnage near the back of the field. Tassenoy obviously spun on him by himself, going into Druids, which resulted in the climb up the order, which he's been doing lately. Breland also had a spin by Graham Hill Bend, which was obviously, you mentioned that he could have been forced off the track, and there could be stewards' action taking place after the race. Other than that, Paul Geoffrey and Sauce also had half spins coming into the final turn. I think the final turn's been probably one of the most exciting corners during this race because there's been so much action and people have been taking so many different lines, as it looks like. Was that? No, sorry, I just completely lost my train of thought then, as Leppanini was lapping some traffic.
But yeah, right now, if we do take a look at the Drivers' Championship, there's going to be some interesting repercussions. Right now, before this race started, Geoffrey Tassenoy was in first, Tobias Röhner second, Tyler Breland third. Well, after the interesting turn of events in the beginning with Tassenoy and Breland having respective spins, not with each other, but with different drivers in the early stages of the race, Röhner right now is in third. He's under 2 seconds behind Cavillon. So it does appear that Tassenoy, if it holds like this at the end of this race, will still hold the lead in the championship. So it could have been a lot worse for Tassenoy. There is, again, 13 laps remaining, so anything can happen. But right now, Leppanini, it's his race to lose.
And going back to points gained after obviously during this race, Leppanini got pole position, and if he does go on to win this race, that means 26 points in the championship fight. Now, I'm not too sure how many points or what position he's on at the moment, but maybe you could shed some light on this, Dylan?
Yeah, right now he actually has no points on the season. Something happened where he wasn't able to race in the first race of the year at the Silverstone National Circuit. So this will be his first point-paying race of the year. Leppanini seems to have lost maybe half a second right now. Pierre Cavillon has some traffic in front of him. Dino Minicantonio and Marco Victor also ahead of him. But right now, Leppanini has a clear track in front of him. Doesn't look like there's any competition. The only thing that would hurt his race right now is himself making a mistake. And quite honestly, I don't see anything of that sort happening to him. Does look like there is a spin, there is smoke around clearways. Who is in the wall? It looks like Jurgen van den Noordgate. So again, he keeps spinning off. Good on him, though, to keep going. It's not always a fun race when you're just continuously going off and you're not exactly competitive at the front. But good on him for staying in. It's good sportsmanship.
Now, as the gaps are relatively sedate at the moment and the racing is mostly Leppanini lapping back traffic, do you think it would be a great time to talk about the next event at the Nürburgring Nordschleife circuit?
I think it's a fantastic opportunity, And what a race that is going to be. I mean, tell us your thoughts. We all obviously know how historic of a circuit that is, how big the circuit is, and how many laps. You think like 4 laps is going to be how many the drivers will face, so it's obviously going to be almost a lottery on each turn for some of the drivers who don't know it exactly off of, say, Brands Hatch Indy. It's a lot easier to learn all the turns here than it is there at the North Clef. So tell us your thoughts. What do you think it's going to look like?
I think more than anything, it's going to be a race of attrition. It's going to be how you can survive on the track. Obviously, if someone, because there's a lot of blind entries to corners on the Nordschleife, if someone spun in front of you, you don't know they're there. You could come flying through the corner and there could just be a car parked on the apex and that could be the end of your race. But with only 4 laps in the race, and these cars probably do a lap of the Nordschleife around about 9 minutes, it's going to be quite a long race as opposed to the quick sprint races. I think it will be more of an endurance race more than a sprint race, as we've seen here at Silverstone and Brands Hatch.
And definitely when you say it's going to be more of an endurance race, I think that also brings into the factor that it's not going to be necessarily the fastest driver who will win. I believe it's going to be the smartest driver, as in the ones who will not take an extreme amount of chances, because if you do go off at one of the turns, it's going to be hard to get that momentum, because that track, the Nordschleife, with these cars, it's going to be such a circuit of how fast you're going through the turns, how quick, because there are a lot of elevation changes. It's going to be interesting to see how the drivers will handle not having an extreme amount of practice on each separate turn. It's going to be an exciting one, especially on the laser scan track. I actually won't be able to announce that race. I'll be camping at a NASCAR race weekend at Pocono Raceway, so I'm excited about that. I definitely wish I could also be broadcasting at the Nordschleife race, but
I do apologise to interrupt you there, as Paul Jeffries and Evan Marion are battling over P9 and they are coming up to Druids and there's a lap car in the way.
Harper gets out of the way immediately. Geoffrey on Marion. Can he do anything? He lost some time because of the lap car of Andrew Harper. And don't forget, Tyler Brelin is right now in this battle. So on lap 38, Brelin going to the inside of Paul Jeffrey at the Cooper Straight. Will anything happen here going in the 30s? Brelin trying to get in the 9th. He gets clear of it, but Brelin does slide a bit. Like I was saying, that's a hard corner to get exactly right. Geoffrey does take the spot back. Good play or racing by Brelin there to keep himself stable. Right on the back of Geoffrey. Evan Marion has had a little bit of a lead on the 2 drivers as they're fighting it out side by side on the Brabham Straight. Coming into Paddock Hill. Who is going to lead? Will Geoffrey relent? He does. Tyler Brelin up into 9th now, and his eyes are set on Evan Marion, but Geoffrey's coming right back, and Brelin goes all the way on the inside to try and block. Geoffrey had a touch in the grass. He couldn't do anything about it, so Brelin employing some NASCAR-like tactics almost. Oh, man.
And as all this is happening, it's great news for Evan Marion, as he's now been able to scamper away, but it looks like he also made a mistake, as so did Tyler Brelin, running off the track at Graham Hill Bend.
Brelin went wide, but also that was in turn of Marion going wide as well. So Marion, Brelin, Geoffrey all again with each other. Geoffrey almost tapped Brelin going in the 30s right there, but on the Brabham Straight, Geoffrey has the slipstream and he does have the momentum. Marion, again, not as far ahead as he was this time last lap, but Geoffrey does not look to have enough momentum to get around Brelin going into that turn. Marion with a little bit of a slide, but Geoffrey, of course, has the momentum again, but Brelin can't block him this time. Geoffrey going on the outside of Brelin. Will he stick it? It doesn't appear so. Brelin right on his bumper, and Marion goes wide again. So the 2 red cars again going at it. Marion brakes early. Brelin brakes early in turn. Geoffrey still with them both. An exciting battle going on here in the late stages of this race in the mid-pack. Marion still clearly out in front of Brelin, but Brelin's going to think about it, but he decides against it. Geoffrey just watching this all unfold. Right now, he's getting a little bit behind now. Marion is not happy because look who's in the slipstream. It's Tyler Brelin, and Brelin's not afraid to go inside. It doesn't appear he's going to have enough to go on the inside. He's going to try to do it. Brelin, oh, he almost collected Marion. That would have been disastrous. Marion stays out in front. He's going to go inside on Druids. Does he have it here? And Marion doesn't see him, and Brelin, they both slide. Marion does not have control. Geoffrey in the grass. He didn't see that Tyler Brelin was right there, and Brelin held on to the car. Tyler Brelin in 8th, Marion 9th, Paul Geoffrey right in 10th. But Geoffrey and Marion still are in the battle. Brelin has got a little bit of space. Marion dips into the grass. What chaos!
You could almost see that coming from a mile away. I can see that Marion probably didn't realise that Brelin was there, but when you turn in there's a car there, obviously you need to give them room at all times, and it was great spatial awareness by Paul Geoffrey as well. And it looks like they've just collected each other on the main straight, but they're going down into Paddock Hill Bend now, side by side.
Marion and Geoffrey almost touch again. This is an insane battle. Marion getting very physical. Was it Marion and Geoffrey who did have that shoving match on the Brabham straight earlier? Was it them? Marion trying to go inside. Do you remember, Sam?
I think it was, but as we are now 3 laps to the end now, as Leponini starts the final couple of laps as he's coming through Druids at the moment.
So Leponini appears that's 4 laps because it's on lap 42. There are 45 laps. He has had one of the easiest races you could absolutely have. Leponini was actually in 2nd for about, 15 seconds, took it back, had the lead in the qualifying session for the majority of it, lost it, took it right back. So this is one of the weekends, or as you would say, the 60 minutes that Leponini is absolutely going to remember. 3 laps to go for him. Andrew Harper, a lap car in front. Pierre Cavillon, 4.5 seconds back. Röhner is gaining on him ever so slightly, around 1.5 seconds back. Röhner, remember, did almost get by his teammate Tassenoy in the last corners of the race at Silverstone Nationals. So could Röhner decide to make another last-ditch attempt here to try and get by Cavillon? That could be an interesting happening. I can definitely see him making a small run, and right now he is. It's 1.2 seconds right now. Cavillon did have the better runoff of the Graham Hill in the 30s. Röhner absolutely taking everything on the curb there, being very careful not to spin his car, and Cavillon still in front of him. There is some lap traffic though, so lap traffic might be a factor in this battle for the 2nd spot. 1.4 seconds is the difference though. This is interesting right here, because up to this moment, the podium battle was non-existent. Cavillon is losing time on Röhner with 2 laps to go.
And they're also coming up with some lap traffic.
Andrew Harper, will this play into any hand? Röhner breaks late. Pierre Cavillon still in front. Andrew Harper, the lap traffic, will he be a factor? Cavillon, wide angle there going off Graham Hill. Röhner has some run. It's down to 1 second now. Going in the 30s. This is going to hurt Pierre Cavillon because of the lap car, because of how quick you have to be around that turn. Harper goes to the outside. Cavillon, good job by Harper to not interrupt. 1 lap to go as Leponini starts his final lap. He's been dominant, but who's going to get 2nd place? 1.1 second is the difference now. That's going to be a lot for Röhner to come back on, but it could happen. Pierre Cavillon hits the curb nicely. Both of them going very smoothly out of the hill on the Halewood into Druids now. Röhner forcing it very big time into Druids, coming off of that turn. No curb action there for him. Cavillon still making it easy on him. As we look at that battle back there, Leponini only has a few more corners to go until he's the winner of the 2nd round here of the MX5 Cup. Cavillon, it doesn't look like he's going to have any competition. And there's just a little bit more to go for Sake Leponini. And, well, there was a winner by Tassenoy last week. Leponini, he's going to win here at Brands Hatch. Say hello again to your winner, Sake Leponini. Pierre Cavillon will hold on for 2nd. In 3rd, Tobias Röhner is in 3rd. Tassenoy will come in 4th. And in 5th, it does appear that Cerise Sauce will come in there. He still has 1 more corner to go. Wow, what an exciting end, though, to it, Sam.
Also, an amazing and exhilarating race towards the end. We had the battle with Paul Geoffrey and Tyler Breland, also with Evan Marion. And then we had the last couple of laps surge by Tobias Röhner to try and catch up to Pierre Cavillon. But as all the cars are now coming across the finish line, it looks to be an end to the race.
Absolutely, and as Cerise Sauce was in 5th, Gabriel Sturr finishes 6th, Craig Patterson 7th, Tyler Brelling gets to 8th, so a nice job by him getting 10 spots as he was in 18th early on. Paul Geoffrey will be in 9th, Evan Marion 10th, Christian Schumann 11th, Di Domenico Antonio is going to finish 12th by the looks of it. Marco Victor right behind him. Di Domenico Antonio is slowing down though, and looks like Victor just passed him. In the last lap, what happened there? Di Domenico Antonio slowed down, and Marco Victor took it away. What could have happened right there?
Surely he must have just misjudged where the finish line was, because he started slowing down well before the grid spots, and Victor just came flying past, and that was very odd what happened to Di Domenico Antonio. Unless he may have underfueled the car and he's been fuel saving the past couple of laps, we don't know.
He must have, because that was an insane. I have no idea what happened. Well, what a dominant performance, and we are going to have interviews in just a second with our top 3, Saka Leponimi, Pierre Cavillon, Tobias Röhner, and that's a 2nd straight podium finish for Röhner. Incredible race. So, Sam, any thoughts off of that?
Well, where to begin? There's so much action during that race, especially with the carnage into Druids on the first lap, with Tassenoy spinning, Breland spinning again a few laps later, Sauce spinning, Paul Geoffrey spinning, Breland fighting his way back from 18th on the grid, 18th place, all the way back to 8th place, and then obviously the last couple of lap battles between Evan Marion, Paul Geoffrey and Breland for the 8th and 9th place, and obviously finishing up with Leponimi, Cavillon and Tobias Röhner is your top 3.
Absolutely, and we are waiting a little bit. Tobias Röhner seems to be coming in to this chat in a few seconds. So, and once again, the top 3, the podium, Saka Leponimi, who just absolutely dominated the entire race. Just incredible. Geoffrey Tassenoy was in 4th, so he won't get a podium spot. So it's very interesting how that race turned out, because Tassenoy, in the very beginning, it didn't look like he was going to be able to do anything. He was right with Saka Leponimi and just fell apart.
Yeah, it just looked like the car got from underneath him and it just spun round. But a great race for Tassenoy and Leponimi. Of course, Leponimi winning the race and Tassenoy fighting all the way back up to 4th place. And I do believe he is still leading the championship.
Definitely, and after that interesting turn of events where Röhner and Tassenoy almost came together, where Tassenoy did win. It was a good race by both drivers, especially with the spin by Tassenoy, but unfortunately for the whole of Talking Door Racing, only one driver got onto the podium, and that driver is Tobias Röhner. And Tobias, a very interesting race. You weren't really able to get anywhere near it. It appeared to be to Cavillon. What? Tell us your thoughts. What do you think of the entire race as a whole?
Well, like, 2 main contenders unfortunately eliminated themselves from at the start, and that also had a bit of an impact on my race, because I was banking on these guys battling it out for the first couple of laps. But because of the spinners, everything sort of stretched itself out very early, and then the pace was just so equal between all the cars that it was almost impossible to make any sort of leeway. I think Pierre didn't do any mistake or race, and Sake didn't really put any foot wrong and was comfortably the fastest. and then it was just a lot of no man's land for me, just driving my race and hoping to not make any mistakes, and turned out okay. So
Absolutely, and it was quite the interesting race, and it doesn't look like we're going to be able to interview Pierre Cavillon, but we do have the dominant winner here, the Finishman, or the Finn, however you'd like to say, Sake Leponimi. Sake, tell us about that race. That was an unbelievably dominant performance after not being able to, I believe you weren't able to race because of a technical reason that last week. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but just tell us your thoughts. You didn't have much action to go around there, so must have been a boring one from the top of there.
No, it's never boring, never ever boring, especially with these cars on this track. So, yeah, last week I had some technical difficulty. Tonight I was really expecting a good battle with Geoffrey and Tobias. Unfortunately, they had some issues of their own, and then the rest of the race for me was passing the traffic and trying to get the fastest lap. I feel bad about myself. I couldn't get into the 52s. God damn it.
So you were able to get into the 52s in the qualifying, the 52.8s, which by far the fastest of the weekend, or the 60 minutes as I keep saying the weekend. But absolutely. So do you have any goals for the rest of this championship fight?
Well, actually I had a goal to win one race, so I guess no goals further. We shall see what happens. It's kind of tough to be 25 points deficit, but we shall see what happens.
We shall see, and this battle will only heat up at the end of the second race, so we appreciate the podium goers who did come here to get the interview, and just a quick little talk about that race. It was quite the exciting one in the beginning, but it did get spaced out. There were some interesting battles, especially in the mid-pack, but all in all, a good race to watch. Sam, what do you think about it?
As you've previously mentioned, Dylan, it was a absolutely thrilling race towards the end and towards the start. It did die down in the midsection, however, but there was battles all over the track, even if they were a lap down in the mid pack. It was just a absolutely thrilling and exciting race.
And we talk about thrilling and exciting. The halfway point of the season follows the next round. The Nordschleife, that's going to be an incredible race that's going to test drivers on how well they can take corners they don't have much practice in. And the Nordschleife is just such an intimidating racetrack. Do you see any one of these drivers here having a good race in that one?
Well, I've never seen anyone else in this championship race on the Nordschleife, so maybe we could be in for some surprises. Obviously, Leponimi could win the race there again and continue his title charge from a 24-point deficit, or, as I say, other drivers could be more used to the Nordschleife as opposed to other drivers, and they could have an advantage throughout the corners. But I think it's all going to come down to this off the race weekends throughout the week, and who puts the most practice in and gets used to the car and the track combination. And since we will only have about, I do believe it's only about 2 qualifying laps available. It's all about getting them laps perfect and not making any mistakes.
And there is a lot of room for error, but there's a lot of rooms to gain time. Well, thank you for watching round 2 of the RD, the Race Department MX5 Cup Championship. What an exciting one. The winner, Sake Leponimi, what a race by him. Very interesting battle is shaping up in the Drivers' Championship. Join us next week on Twitch on Racedepartment.com. We're racing at the Nordschleife. It's Sunday, July 31st, it appears to be, and that's going to be 1900 Greenwich, same time. And thank you again for watching. Good night and good racing.